In this lecture, we want to finalize our exploration of message and message type data types. So as you already know, message is an ACP data model to send and receive messages, and it can be used in both ACP clients and ACP servers. Each message is made of an ordered array of message part data model, and every message part can have a different content type. And this structure allows us to have a multimodal message, which means that a message can include different types of content, for example, text and image, all together in one message. On the left side of the screen, you will see the structure of a message. Every message has an attribute called role. A role can be either a user, which is used for messages from an actual human user. Agent is for messages from an anonymous agent. And agent / agent name is from an agent with a given name. Then the message has an array of message parts, and every message part can have a content type, which can be, for example, text plain or image PNG or image JPEG and so forth. Then either you provide content or content URL. If you provide the content, it's called inline content delivery. If you provide the content URL, that is called reference content delivery. And you do either content or content URL. Then you can provide content encoding, which can be either plain or base64. For content types such as plain text, your content encoding will be plain, but if you have inline content delivery of an image, for example, then you will use base64 because you have to convert the binary content of an image into base64 to be able to put it inside a message part. There are two optional attributes that you can provide. One is name and one is metadata. If you provide the name, you are converting this message part to something called artifact. An artifact is basically carrying a file with it, for example, a PDF file, and it has a name, obviously, like the name of the file. You can also provide metadata. We will see metadata in the next slides. Now let's look at two examples. On the left side of the screen, you will see a simple message. Its role is user, so the message is coming from a user, and it has only one message part. The content type of that message part is text plain, and its content is hello world. On the right side of the screen, however, you will see a multi-part message with an artifact. One of the message parts is an artifact. So in this message, the role is agent / image analyzer, which means that the message is coming from an agent called image analyzer. It has 4 parts. The first part is a plain text. The second part is an image, and it doesn't have content. Instead, it has content URL. So we are using the reference content delivery model, and it's pointing to a PNG file on the internet. The last message part, as you can see, has a name, so it's an artifact. The name is the name of a file called report PDF. Its content type is application PDF, and it's pointing to a PDF file on a website. With every message part, you can also provide metadata as extra information. So metadata is used in a message part to provide semantic context and additional information. Again, this is not a metadata on message. This metadata is on every message part. There are 2 types of metadata that you can use. The first one is citation metadata, and the second one is a trajectory metadata. Citation metadata relates the content to its source, for example, a part of a text on a web page. This is useful for RAG or search engines. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. For example, if you want to get some information from your company website or a knowledge base website in your company, for example, on Microsoft SharePoint, and if you get that piece of information and use it in your agent, you can provide citation to that data from your company website so that the client knows that where you got the information from. Trajectory metadata, however, provides transparency to agents' decision-making process and tool usage. When we say tool, we are referring to an MCP tool. So if your agent uses an MCP to get extra context, you can provide the input and output and the name of the MCP tool in the trajectory metadata, and we will see that soon. So in Python, if you use the ACP SDK, you will have access to 2 classes. One of them is called citation metadata, and the second one is called trajectory metadata. Let's go to Visual Studio and see them. If you clone the repository of this course in GitHub, you will get access to a directory called message demo, and it has a Python script called server py. In this script, basically it is the dictionary that we created before. However, the first version of this server returned response result text as a plain text. I have changed this script to return an instance of message class. As you know, every message has an attribute called parts, and every member of parts is an instance of message part. Message part has content type, which is text in my case. The content is actual text, and then I have provided a metadata through the metadata attribute. The type of the metadata is trajectory metadata. I haven't actually used an MCP, but let's pretend that I have used an MCP. The name of this MCP is in tool name attribute, and you just type in name of the MCP server that you have used. Tool input is like the input that you pass to the MCP. For example, in my case, I have said that look for this word in SharePoint. And the tool output is that, for example, the tool has told me that the domain that this word was related to was finance domain. So as you can see, I'm basically returning a message. So server also can return a message. Client can also pass a message to your agent.